Ryan, talking about queuing stuff up.
Queuing it up, getting my production piece ready.
Dude, you are a talent.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't have the right button pushed.
Oh, you are not a talent.
I had too many things going on, man. I am not a talent.
You're listening to Nearly Informed.
What's going on, guys? Nearly Informed. I am Brian Moote. In with me today, Ryan Dalton.
Good morning.
It's Ryan Dalton Tuesdays. I think we're going to dub it as Ryan Dalton Tuesdays.
I like
it. Follow him at At Ryan Dalton?
At Ryan Dalton on Twitter, at the Ryan Dalton on Instagram.
We got to find out who Ryan Dalton is on Instagram and have them Instagram killed.
Yeah, it's not fair. I got in early on Twitter. I just didn't get so fast on the Insta.
I was slow to everything because I just, for some reason, I was just like, this social media thing's not going to stick around.
You mean like everybody else?
Yeah, I just didn't see the point of it. Who cares? You know, I was on MySpace, and I didn't really get it. I was like, who cares, man? Like, this seems stupid. It just keeps getting me in trouble with my girlfriend at the time.
MySpace is how I met my wife.
Really?
That's right.
Wait, how did that go? You were the original sliding into the DMs?
No. Yes, I was. And I
slid into the DMs.
But they weren't even called DMs then? What they were called messages?
Okay, hold on. Ryan, we got to set for you to tell us this story.
Yes.
How did you slide into Ashley's DMs, Ryan?
It was a more innocent time. It was the early 2000s. Dane Cook was the most popular comedian in the entire world.
That seems like a long time ago.
He was the mayor of MySpace at one point. I was too scared to ask this beautiful woman who I had met at a rock show that my friend suggests that I should invite her to a comedy show of mine.
Whoa, that's a bold move.
He said, don't just say I have free tickets to give. Say, I would like to set aside some tickets for you for my performance at Pickwick and Frolic Cleveland Hilarities.
That's a ballsy move because that was early on in your comedy career.
And I was very nervous to do it.
Yeah. Do you remember one of the jokes you did? Do you think there's one joke that got her? Like she looked at it, she was like, ooh, he is funny.
It was the early days, and I was single, so a lot of what I was doing was very cutesy. I hope girls talk to me after the show type jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And she fell for it. And that night, she says that she looked over to her best friend, Katie, and said, that's the man I'm going to marry.
No way!
I swear to God.
Really?
She'll tell you that story.
Dude, you crushed it.
I really did.
You crushed it. I brought a girl that I was dating, the girl that I kept getting in trouble with on MySpace, Madeline. She was my dad referred to her as having the personality of a dead fish, so that was nice of you. I hope she doesn't listen. And she used to get so mad because I just pretended I couldn't change my status from single to in a relationship.
You just didn't know how to do it.
I didn't know how to do it. I just was I literally just didn't know how to. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And
what's the tab again? I can't find it.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know what to do, and she kept getting pissed. And then she wanted me to get on Facebook, and I was like, isn't this the Zuckerberg one from Harvard? I don't want to be on this pretentious thing. I did the same thing with Twitter.
I didn't like Facebook at first, and I was all about MySpace, and then just in a short time, people were like, F MySpace, let's go over to Facebook.
Yeah, MySpace died fast.
I mean, it died. It jumped off a cliff. I knew something was happening when people were adding just too many gadgets to their page. Your computer would crash.
You'd load it, and there'd be money signs raining down on the
sounds,
screen.
Different soundtracks that people like. It was way too much information. It was it would crash sometimes when you're on it.
Do you remember when people would do one open mic and then change their page to MySpace comedy?
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, MySpace thought that they had it figured out. They had MySpace comedy, MySpace music, all these different. And then I think what really was a nail in the coffin, when I saw that Fox bought it, I was like, that's a wrap. Everyone's getting off that thing.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess people I got pushed towards Facebook, and that was the deal.
Well, MySpace made a love connection for you.
It did. I owe it a lot.
Yeah, well, I just never did any consistent branding on any of those.
Do you still have a MySpace page?
I do, MySpace, /Moote Comedy. Go check it out.
I got to go log back onto my page.
I can't
believe it's still around.
I believe there's just a picture of me holding a 40-ounce beer, cheersing the camera, with a cigar in my mouth.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to bring this up with you real quick because these LA fans are getting crushed for being bandwagon because the Rams made the Super Bowl, which I'm excited about because I am proudly bandwagon. I think there's nothing more fun than being bandwagon in the city that you're living in if it doesn't conflict with any of your prior fan engagements.
The LA Rams are my favorite football team in the last 2 hours. That's how much I love these. I want to be as LA fan. LA fans, I got to tell you, I'm sorry. You are the worst.
Yep.
You're the worst.
Well, I mean, it's not entirely fair given that the team left in the late 90s in a really abrupt manner, going to St. Louis. And then people were upset, as it, like you lost a team when Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
And when they went to Baltimore.
That's right, the Ravens, and they won 2 Super Bowls since that time.
Yeah, and then the Browns came back.
They did in 1999. They came back.
But do you support people? Do you support bandwagon fans? Because what's interesting to me is that when LeBron, wherever LeBron goes in basketball, bandwagon fans follow because they're just LeBron fans.
We know one.
Yes, I know a lot of them.
No,
actually.
we know one in particular who's the official cheerleader for LeBron.
Well, Jeff Dye is the official cheerleader for
and that's
LeBron.
fine. At least I could connect with him. I mean, once he came back to Cleveland, I was like, oh, yeah, totally. But
when he was in Miami, that was
it was the worst thing ever to hear. I couldn't take it.
That's the thing about, but you see, even Jeff, and it's comedian Jeff Dye, a good friend of mine,
Funny dude.
At Jeff Dye on all the social medias. He is an irrational Seattle fan who can't understand irrational fans in other cities, which I can. I remember that when Kobe Bryant was on the Lakers and he was accused of sexual assault, I was like, dude is guilty. Well, I don't know why he's even playing.
Wow.
He is so guilty. And then someone was like, what if he played for the Seattle Supersonics? And I'd be like, oh, then she was lying. Of course.
Total lie.
I'm so willing to admit my blind love and hate of sports. Like, for example, no matter who was in the Super Bowl this year, I'd be rooting against the Patriots. I lived in Boston. I can't stand those fans. I like my Boston friends, but when it comes to games, I hate all of them.
But here's the thing about this Super Bowl, and when your team, my Cleveland Browns, are probably not going to be in the Super Bowl, maybe in contention in the next couple of years, but maybe, by the way. But when you live in the city of the team, and so they've been here 2 years. I'm not the biggest LA Rams fan, but in the Super Bowl, I'm going to root for them.
Oh man, it's so fun! I want a parade.
We live in a town where the team is in the Super Bowl. I don't care if they're not my favorite team. I'm rooting for them.
I know it's not the same as if the team that you love wins a Super Bowl.
It isn't. I'm not going to be as happy. I'm going to be like, the team I rooted for won.
But also on the flip side, you're not going to be as sad when they lose. It's not like you were loving the Rams since you were a kid.
I know.
I can set aside my love for the Seahawks and be like, they're out. They're out, and I don't care. I want the Rams to win because it's super fun. I want a parade. I love parades. Parades are great. A reason for a little day drinking. Maybe I can finagle my way onto a float as some sort of bandwagon super fan. I'm trying to get a bus right now donated to the radio station that we can paint blue and call it the Rams wagon. Like the bandwagon, Rams wagon. And I'll drive that. I would drive that sucker to Atlanta, just broadcasting for every city I could.
Oh, man, if you could make it to Atlanta,
I wouldn't make it.
Dude,
if someone donated me a bus, I wouldn't make it past Riverside. I wouldn't make it to Vegas. Nevada. No, we'd be like, guys, we made it to a bookie in Vegas.
There's plenty of vans parked on the sides of these city streets.
That is the thing I don't think a lot of people realize about Hollywood is all the campers, all the RVs that move down here to live the dream and just crush your dreams of ever finding parking spaces.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. There's 2 Breaking Bad vans across the street from my house right now.
Every time I walk by them, I can't not look inside.
Oh, yeah. You're like, what are you cooking in there? Come on.
Hey, guys, what do you got going on in there? How do you guys have power? I love it when I'll see one that has a generator running out on the sidewalk, just cranking away. I don't know if that's safe and legal. And they never move for street cleaning either.
They either look like the Breaking Bad vans or like an extra vehicle in Fury Road.
Mad Max?
Yeah, they're always a little enhanced.
There's like some sort of window that used to be a window that's now been like boarded up with other sheet metal.
Yeah.
I saw one with a wood stovepipe coming out the back of it. It's like, there's no way that is safe.
Yeah, no.
I don't care if it's imperative for you so you don't freeze to death. It's not safe.
There was a law against it. I remember the day, and then somebody must have voted down that law. Or
Yeah, the
changed
camper
it.
laws.
They
Yeah,
had one that's saying like no more campers for a period of time you just can't park them there, and they went away, and then all of a sudden they came back.
That's right. I feel like it's one of those laws where they're like, guys, just ignore it, and they'll stop enforcing it.
I mean, must be. It must be that.
All right, coming up next, we are going to talk. We're going to hit some news here, Ryan. Politics, the wall, the Supreme Court, military, kids from Covington, Kentucky. That plot is thickening. It's going to be a hoot.
This is Nearly Informed with Brad and Brian.
It is Nearly Informed. I'm Brian Moote. We got Ryan Dalton sitting in today. Ryan, have you been up on the latest in current events?
In a way, and by in a way, I check my feed on Instagram.
Totally fine. That's what.
This show's called Barely Informed.
Nearly Informed.
Okay,
just a
there
step
you go.
above.
So I
barely.
didn't even really know the name of the show till now. Barely Informed.
That's the spirit of the show is that we don't know a whole lot about it, but we'll throw the ideas out there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
You know, we'll lay the important details out. We might gloss over a few. Start with the kids from Covington, Kentucky, Covington Catholic in north of Lexington, Kentucky. And I called it yesterday. We were talking about it, and I said that this investigation of this high school is going to get deeper, going to get thick. The pendulum swung one way, and we were like, these racist kids disrespecting an old Native American man.
Just from one video clip.
Just from one video. I mean, listen, I don't care who you are. The kids have a punchable face.
Without a doubt, man. The thing about that face is like, dude, you think about you going to school with people like that, and you wanted to punch them then.
Right. And now you're like, I want still.
I mean, that's my knee-jerk reaction to a video, but with no context.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I got to tell you, I was trying to catch up on it. I was on the treadmill at the gym. I had no sound. I couldn't really follow. But they were at least trying to give some backstory to the event, and I still don't know what the backstory is. But if I just look at that clip, I only look at that clip, I just see a bunch of like villains from Karate Kid surrounding an American Indian beating a drum.
Cobra Kai sitting there.
I'm serious. It's like that is the emotional response I get from just watching a video clip. Now, I still need to know the context. Like, what's going on?
So
I don't know.
It's actually a fascinating study of how media and social media can run with things.
Yeah.
And how we have knee-jerk reactions both directions. So initially it was like, and granted, I saw the video and I was like, these kids are very punchable. I don't even know what's going on in this. I don't have a lot of details, but these are punchable
You got
faces.
an emotional response immediately.
Right. This smirk is punchable.
Yeah.
Then it turns out that the Native American man walked into another somewhat of an altercation between this group of fired up Catholic teenage boys from an all-boys school who their thing is like, they call themselves the Covington Crazies when they're at games. Like they're all wild. And they're doing like, their chaperones dropped the ball like 1,000,000,000%. Mm-hmm. So they're all fired up, jumping around. Kids taking off his shirt, swinging that around. That's another video. Then there was a group of Islam. Israelites or something. But anyways, they were a group of black men who were kind of getting into it with him, just kind of talking a bunch of trash to him and stuff. And they were doing the same thing, and everyone's just hyped up. The Native American man comes in the middle of it. Then there's that weird, awkward drum off. So now, then it swung the other way. You media, you skewered these kids unfairly. This is ridiculous. Now it's coming back the other way, which I called yesterday, which says, and now we're gonna dig through their dirty laundry at this high school.
Sure.
And we found some pictures of them doing this blackout night at their basketball games, where a bunch of them are like body painted black, and there's like a black basketball player from another school standing, and they're all screaming at him. Bad look. Again, no context. Just really bad. Just looks like a bunch of kids wore blackface to yell at some black basketball players. That's a terrible look. Then they're like, we're overreacting there. Then later on in the day, some girl posts a video saying, I wasn't going to post this, but I feel like you should all know these kids weren't good kids. They weren't behaving. Not they're bad kids. And there's a video of them like yelling at these girls that are like probably 19, 20. And at the end of one of them's like, slut! Like, just screams. And they're like, yeah, how, what? Like, and she's like, how old are you? Like, old enough. Just being...
just being jerky kids.
Jerky teenagers with no adult there saying not to do it. And so now it's like, it's coming back towards, guys, these kids weren't behaving themselves. They were acting like a-holes. And the social media skewered them. I would make my kids watch that video and go, this is why you don't act like an a-hole in public. I don't care what you were actually doing. Don't look like an a-hole in public, especially on video, because now Covington High School had to shut down today because of bomb threats and death threats, which if you're bomb threatening a stupid Catholic school who act like a bunch of idiots and just, what are you doing? Like, come on, like
that's already bad. Like
right.
Before, not even throwing in the video. It's like if you were already doing bomb threats, that's verboten on both sides of the ball. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, right. Well, it's not. It's one of those things where it's that it just keeps swinging back and forth. We're like, these kids are heroes. No, they're awful. So we'll see. It's gonna swing again when the president undoubtedly invites him to the White House. I'm telling you, it's gonna. I'm calling it right now.
It's because of the hats.
Yeah, he's just because he believes they were unfairly targeted, which to a certain extent, the reaction I am ascertaining was unfair. But it doesn't take away from the fact that if you see the kid, he had a punchable face.
The bottom line is the kid had a punchable face and an awful smirk on his face.
Uh-huh.
And that is the truth. It's like, but it's those images that people rally behind. And then they don't think about what's going on in the situation. We have no idea, but it's the images of just bullies. It makes you angry.
And it does take you back to like the kid who, and I think that's the ultimate problem. I think you just nailed it. The bully. It takes you back to the kid who, just by staring at his face, you knew he thought he was better than you.
Yeah, of course.
And like just looking at like the older bully who was like, oh, look at what he's doing.
He said so much without saying anything. He didn't.
He didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Other news, and this one always baffles me. And I didn't think this was really going to go through, but the Trump administration put up a law that the Supreme Court had to, and they upholded it today. It's basically starting a ban on transgender folks being in the military. Mm-hmm. To which I never understand why we ban anybody who is able-bodied, physically and mentally capable of serving in the military. I don't.
And by that, taking orders, completing orders. Being efficient. That's what the military trains you to do. And if you can't do that, then you don't deserve to be in the military. You just can't.
Right.
They have
like aptitude testing.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
They have. There's physically things you have to do. That's just the way it is with the military. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, that shouldn't have to matter. I'm serious. If I'm dead, you can't just exclude people who qualify for services in the military.
Right. Regardless of the gender identity that you have. And the thing that makes no sense to me too is because we allow both men and women into the military, right?
Right.
So
what? I mean, what we do?
It just happened. I don't get it. I mean, well, the women are all like working in the mess halls and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
No, but if you're allowing both genders in, right? Then why wouldn't you allow whatever gender somebody identifies with to be in? Because if they identify as a woman, hey, great, we let women in. If you identify as a man, great, we let men in. It really just screams that some of the older people running the military just think it's gross. Like,
yeah, of course.
I don't want, because like I read some interviews today with some transgender folks that are in the military, and they're like, look, we're not a medical liability. We didn't use American taxpayer dollars to fund our transition. That's not covered by any medical insurance. We did this on our own, and from all intents and purposes, like if you're a transgender person in the military, you're already operating under a hypersensitive microscope.
Right.
And from what I read, the soldiers that are transgender are damn good soldiers. Like physically, mentally, they follow through on things. It just screams to me old people being grossed out by the idea of transgender.
I mean, we've tried. I mean, by the way, this is not apples to apples, and I know I'll get yelled at for trying to compare these things is the same. But
no, you gave enough of a qualifier. Where
no, but my point is, sadly, I remember when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was passed. I was a kid. Clinton was the president, and that sadly. At that time, that was a step forward, even though it's ridiculous. I remember that was a win, and then now you know in protests when gays finally were allowed to serve in the military without this Don't Ask, Don't Tell. They would refer back to that time and be like, "Can you believe that this happened?" But I remembered it being a step forward.
It was a step forward.
It was. Before it was just you're not. No, but it's not going to happen.
If you think about it with the frame of 2019 though. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
You go, wait a minute, we passed the law saying shh.
Yeah,
keep
I know.
the
It's
secret.
ridiculous, but that was actually a step forward. But
I mean,
and
that
I think
sounds
it's
so
that
ridiculous
it's
to
that
even
whole
think
thing
about.
of like, no, this is going to be a problem, and it's never a problem. It's just there are people who want to serve this country and be part of a bigger thing than them, and you're going to exclude them based on the fact something they do makes you a little uncomfortable. I don't care if a torso shows up to boot camp. If they can do everything, then you let that person serve. I don't care.
Also, here's the other thing. Stop envisioning people doing things that you do in your bedroom that are probably grosser than what these folks are doing.
Oh, my God.
If you're like, I'm grossed out by the idea of transgender individuals, you're being weird. Leave them alone. They're not as creepy as you.
Find Nearly Informed on Instagram and Twitter at Nearly Informed.
That's right. Find us on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Moote Comedy on Instagram, at Moote Points on Twitter. Ryan Dalton on Twitter, the Ryan Dalton on Instagram. You can also follow his wife at Mrs. Dalton.
Ryan Dalton.
The Mrs.
The Mrs. Dalton.
The Mrs. Dalton.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite. I love that Instagram handle. You guys got like that. I like the teamwork you got in there.
Well, that was her idea, and she's not much for social media, but she does like Instagram because everybody's on it. It's easy to follow. Everybody loves pictures and video.
I find myself just like kind of mindlessly. That's the one I go to now.
It's infected me. I hate that I'm this old of a man and I succumb to an app on my it's one of the first three things I check when I wake up in the morning. Like, what am I doing?
Because I just find myself fascinated, especially Instagram.
Email's fourth. Email should be like first.
I'll realize I haven't checked my email in like a half a day. I'm like, well, I've been on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just like looking through Instagram stories, which I got to be honest, like I'm fascinated by Instagram stories because it feels like you're in a first person. You are someone's phone. Is what it feels like. Just all walking around all day. Now, the one thing I don't like on Instagram stories is the basic bitch boomerang.
I don't know about that.
Oh my God! It's just when a girl does like a sassy face move shake, and it just keeps rewinding. Like, you guys can't see it because it's an audio medium. But it's just that
I hate
just
you're
like this,
doing this.
They put their face in like this kind of like sassy, and it just keeps going back and forth. I don't know if you guys can hear me talking sassier, but I feel sassier.
Are you sassy shaming right now?
I'm sass shaming. Yeah.
Oh man, I
you know
can't
what?
believe it.
It's
starting a movement right
sassy
now.
shaming is still okay in 2019. 2020, it will not be.
That's right.
It will not be. Hashtag sass. What is sass? Sass over. Sass over. Sass
Hashtag
out.
don't give me no sass.
Don't give me no sass. I wanted to bring up this. This was a thing that happened this weekend. I was ridiculously angry at my girlfriend this weekend, and I want to know if you would agree with me about being this upset. On principle, and then just how it played out. And it's ridiculous. And I was so mad. It was about midnight. We just got home, and I took the dogs out, but I was going to cook a pizza. We had a frozen pizza. So I threw it on a...
What kind of frozen pizza was it?
I think it was a DiGiorno. I can't remember that.
Was it a good one, or was it just like something you had in the freezer?
No, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good frozen pizza.
All right. Was it late night?
Oh, yeah. And it was like we were going to order pizza, but then I was like, hey, we always order food. Let's just use what we got here. And I have round pizza pans. They're special cooking like pizza pans.
Yeah.
And
gotta get pizza stone though, dude.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. I'll get to the crux of my argument in a second. And I like to put truffle oil. We have some nice truffle oil. I put it on the pan. It makes the crust have a little truffle flavoring to it. And I preheat the oven. And it's 400 degrees, and my girlfriend's upstairs getting ready, putting her pajamas on or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'll handle the pizza. I'll handle the dogs. I take the dogs outside for a walk so they can go to the bathroom. I come back in the house, and granted, I've had a little bit to drink. So I come in, and I'm like, what the hell is the pizza doing on top of the... I swear to God, I put that in the oven. And I go to grab the pizza. I fry my hand.
Oh, my God, dude.
And I dropped the pizza off the pan face down into the oven. So now it's just cheese all over the oven. And my thumb is on fire. And I'm like, wow, like, what the hell? And she's like, I took it out of the oven because I don't like pizza on the pans. I wanted to cook it on the grill, on the oven rack. And I was like, why did you take it out of the oven?
You mean without a pan below it? She just wanted to put
She wanted to put it on the rack because she wanted the bottom of the crust to be all crusty. And I'm like,
yeah, crispy, yeah.
But
that's why a pizza stone's imperative.
Okay, but that's why I was so pissed that my thumb was on fire.
Oh, sure.
And that she would take the pizza out of the oven when I said was going to handle the pizza. I launched the crust with no cheese, the entire crust, like 30 feet out off our we have like French doors that open out into the street. I fling the pizza crust out. I threw the pizza box. I tried to throw the spatula that I had in my hand out the window, missed, and hit the doorway, and so it came ricocheting back at me. And she started laughing at me because I was enraged at why, and I could not wrap my head around it. Now, mind you, I'd been drinking a little bit. But I couldn't wrap my mind in that moment around why you would take the pizza out of the oven that I just put in the oven. Why would you do that? She's like, I tried to warn you. No, you didn't. Like and they're my thumb sizzled.
Is it bad?
It's fine. It actually ended up being fine.
Okay.
But I heard it sizzle. And it felt like I was going to blister up. But I have calluses on my thumbs.
I mean, I just can't believe this frozen pizza made you show such a display of toxic masculinity.
I was on fire.
I mean, she's lucky to be alive.
I will blame toxic femininity for her taking my pizza out of the oven. And I was like, why did you even look? She goes, well, I didn't think you were cooking it right. Just let me handle the frozen pizza.
I see, that's what it is. You were just like, dude, I got this. You were mainly angry because you burnt the hell out of yourself.
Well, I thought I did, but also it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It didn't really blister.
I mean, that would hurt a lot. So I get why you're upset. But you probably should have known not to grab a hot pan.
But I didn't know it was hot.
Because you forgot. You thought you forgot?
I thought I forgot to put it in the oven.
Oh,
That's
man.
why I was mad. And then I remembered, once it was on, I burned my hand, I realized I had already put it in and she took it out. I came in the house thinking I was crazy. I was like, I swear I put that pizza in
I've never
already.
cooked a pizza without a cookie sheet or something beneath it. Never once.
I've done it once, and that's when you run the risk of, like, at some point in time, the crust, once it starts to heat
Especially
up,
if it's frozen, it'll just dip.
It'll dip into and then now you got, like, stuff dripping onto the bottom of the oven, and I don't want to have to scrub that. Now, mind you, our oven was a disaster.
I've never even heard of that before.
The next day, we were chiseling burnt cheese off the door. And then she used an oven cleaner, which set off every single fire alarm we have for a good 20 minutes. And I just was like, the whole time I was like, and then she kept going, oh, we should have cleaned it up last night. And serious? I kept looking at her going,
nobody's cleaning nothing.
Don't get me started on my rage from the pizza burnt hand.
Right.
Have you, but I'm willing now to acknowledge that I was out of my mind. Like, I was just like, it was such a stupid argument. Have you and your wife ever gotten into an argument that you look back the next day and you're like, why the hell were we fighting about that? In a funny way, not like a...
Well, it's a little different now because I know those arguments are going to come.
Yeah.
And I also... Because, for example, she bought this spray bottle for oil. We got an air fryer. And an air fryer is fantastic.
Do you love it? I love it.
We have one. I love it because you can get a good result. It's not the same as deep frying, but you can get a very adequate second result by using it on different things, especially fresh vegetables. But you only need a little bit of oil.
You fry the vegetables, love it.
Yeah, we do.
Does it make them way less healthy?
No, it's air. All it is hot air, but you put a little bit of coconut oil on them because that's the conduct. It's kind of like the conductor for the air frying process. But it's just a couple squirts. So anyway, we get this coconut oil. This coconut oil is a solid. You have to heat it up to turn it into a liquid. So she gets this spray bottle for the coconut oil, and I tell her, you can't put this stuff in there because it won't spray because it's a solid.
It's gonna thicken up.
She still nags me like, why don't you use the thing? And I don't want to explode because I'm like, you can't spray a solid, and I have to walk out of the kitchen because I know that argument's coming, man.
That's like, hey.
I was like, why did you buy this? I told you this wouldn't work. I tried to tell you in the nicest way as opposed to going, you can't spray a solid.
It's like, why don't we spray butter onto a pan?
And you can't just microwave the thing because it's a metal object. Now, I mean, you just spent money on something I can't use.
Why? But she knows you can't microwave a metal object. I mean, I remember
know that.
The first time you find that out, you're like, what is going on in the microwave?
Makes me crazy.
But every time you guys do it, she wants you to put it in this.
Oh, well, she did, and I told her, I was like, I can't do. I mean, the other thing is you can buy coconut oil in a spray can. Yeah. You can just use that. So I'm just like, I don't
like a aerosol can, right?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not the biggest deal, but it's those things I know are coming.
Oh, here's another one. This one just reminded
We got an argument about Vanderpump Rules last night. Okay?
Whoa, why? What is it?
Well,
I'm here for the Vanderpump Rules argument.
all right, I don't want to. It's so inside, but I mean, the bottom line is, I believed a girl was these group of girls were trying to get on this other girl's, just trying to annoy her because they want her to break up with this person she's engaged with. And so finally, this person who's like super nice on the show couldn't take it anymore and walked out of the room. And I was like. And I pointed that out, and Ashley's like, "No, I mean she's getting married. These girls really care about her." I'm like, "They don't care about her."
Which girl is getting married?
Jax's.
Brittany and Jax.
Yeah,
okay.
Brittany's getting married, and
they just keep bringing up how Jax is a scumbag.
Yeah, they keep bringing it up, and she's like, "Listen, she wants to be with this dude. Yes, she picked him, but she's always going to have to be on defense about it, you know." And I was like, finally, she couldn't take it. And she's always the nice person in the show, and Ashley's like, "Yeah, but they care about her because she's like going to get married and stuff." Like, they don't care. They just want him to break up. They want him to suffer, and they just keep trying to drive a wedge in between them, and I wouldn't let it go. I didn't get angry throwing a pizza pie at anybody.
I threw a pizza out the window.
But I was like, no, I'm not letting this go. This is important to me.
I love the fact that, well, one, that you're passionately arguing for Brittany to stay with Jax, but two, I love the notion that you guys think that Brittany hasn't seen every season of Vanderpump Rules. You don't think she's seen all of the awful things Jax has done to all of you?
Yeah, right.
Like, she's even though she joined the cast in like season 4, she's seen season 1.
Yeah.
Like, she's gone back. She's got that on. You can watch that on Hulu right now.
I mean, dude, I had a conversation with comedians last night over how maybe she's like somehow a Dick Cheney to this whole operation. She's the only one who had her own spinoff, so maybe she's like driving some storylines of her own. Dude, I'm too in. I'm too close. I'm too close.
Ryan, you are too close.
This is Nearly Informed with Brad and Brian.
You are thoroughly informed on Vanderpump Rules.
Seen them all.
I mean, I think that's, not only are you thoroughly informed on Brittany and Jax and the cast, but like, you've created conspiracy theories.
I mean, I really enjoyed this conspiracy theory. I would love it if it was right.
That's pretty funny that deep down you just think that the hatred they all have, because she did, was it Jax and Brittany in Kentucky or something like that?
Yeah, but they're the only one with their own spinoff.
That's really funny that I just envision you when your wife is at work at the hospital working, that you just sit there and you go like, you're just like a crime scene investigator with tacks and yarn, and you've got photos and you got spin-offs.
Oh, we talk about it
the dots.
ad nauseum. I mean, I got to tell you, this season's kind of, but I mean, I've had long-term hypothetical discussions in their universe before. It's very embarrassing.
I mean, you would actually be a great storyboard writer for Vanderpump Rules if for the next season, because they're running out of ideas. I agree with you.
They really are running out of ideas.
It's just the same. They're just rehashing every same old plot line again with just different people, and they're trying to make it interesting. Like, hey, Tom and Tom are going to open a bar. It's Tom.
That's why reality shows are only good. I mean, this show has been fantastic. I don't want to say it hasn't, because I'm a huge fan, but typically reality shows, if they get to the third season, it's just like they're running through the motions because they're now self-aware of what they are.
Exactly. The reality part is gone.
Yeah.
You almost just got to keep filming continuously for a year and just get 5 seasons out of it.
I mean, dude, the golden age of reality show is the Anna Nicole Smith show.
Solid. I think
the Osbournes,
Real World Vegas,
Simple Life.
Real World Vegas is when I think the Real World franchise took a dive, because they put them in a city that basically is reality TV on its own, Vegas, with a reality show, and they tried to like make them have a job still, because for a while they all had to work in the city they were in and get jobs. But then Vegas, they were supposed to be party promoters and planners, and the thing was just a disaster.
I mean, it sounds like a disaster.
They never came close to doing anything that resembled work, and I think that's when MTV said, you know what the funny part is? Let's just let them get hammered and bang each other.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to find out slowly which cast member's gay every season. That's not gonna come out. The producer's like, don't say a word yet. Shh, don't ask, don't tell. In the Real World house, that's coming out slow. We don't want to reveal ourselves. Speaking of things that I've seen lately, and things that, well, I don't know if you've seen it yet. Have you watched any of the Fire Festival documentaries?
God, I've seen both of them.
Did you watch both?
I spent more time watching Fire Fest documentaries than those kids spent time at that stupid island for one day.
Oh, the Pablo Escobar's island?
I was like, it is interesting. In all fairness, it was interesting.
Right.
Because you want to hear about big fraud. That's a good story. But
yeah, the scam.
I mean, for me to sit here and be just like, what a disaster and all this dramatic music. I was like, a bunch of rich or well-to-do kids had a bad day. At the end of had one bad day.
They got a cool story that makes them interesting.
And the
now.
people who sold pretty much everything they own just to go to this, I don't feel bad for you.
No, you're stupid.
I don't feel bad for you because I walk down my street every day and I see people homeless with nothing, no shoes, nothing,
living in tents,
living in their clothes, and I was getting angrier at these people.
So if you haven't seen the Fire Festival documentary, there's one on Netflix, one on Hulu.
Wait till the musical comes out.
There's gonna be like a made-for-TV movie about it.
I'm directing a play as we speak.
It's about a guy named Billy McFarland. He pairs up with Ja Rule. He's somewhat of an entrepreneur at the time, but then you kind of see he's more of just a jive-talking con artist, but able to get money, man. And they've got a dream to have a festival, like an exclusive festival down on an island in the Bahamas. And they said they bought the island, which was Pablo Escobar's island, in theory, but I guess who knows if that's actually. I mean, there's a runway on it, so it seemed like a cool idea, but then they did it all backwards, where basically Billy McFarland and Ja Rule just seemed like they were raising money to just have a kick-ass time, like, for 6 months down in the Bahamas. They flew all these Instagram influencers and models and stuff down there and were popping bottles on boats and dancing around in the sunset and riding jet skis. The red flag to me, if I was part of that whole thing, was when Billy McFarland just kept passing out on the beach from drinking too much. Like, you're supposed to be the festival organizer. And if you didn't see it in the news, basically, I mean, it never happened. It didn't even come close. Artists all canceled. They were trying to put people in FEMA disaster tents with beds.
That's pretty great.
I mean, it just was a zoo. And I think what's funny, did you, so in the Hulu version, did they have Andy King, the event planner, who's gay, but he doesn't tell the story on the Hulu version about how he was asked to suck a D to release the water from customs?
No.
That part of the documentary on Netflix is unbelievable, and it was funny to me in the sense that that request is crazy. You're gonna ask somebody, like, you have all this water. They had all this water, just tankers of Evian water. I love the fact that it's Evian too. It's like, not just it's Evian. We had it flown in from a water company, and to get it out of customs for the festival so people could drink water, Billy McFarland calls Andy King and says, hey man, you need to take one for the team for us. We need you to go down and blow this dude to get it out of customs. And Andy King's telling the story, and he's like, I went down there to do it. Like, I didn't want to. And to me, the funny part about the thing, because I don't think it's funny to, like, go, hey, gay dude, you love blowing dudes, right? You want to go down and do that? Perform a little oral to get that. I mean, come on, please. Like, it's what you love doing anyway, right? It's just so wildly inappropriate to ever ask someone to do. Like, that's crazy to me. But also, how crazy is it that you would think that would be what, like, the guy who is working in customs is like, oh my God, this is perfect. 55-year-old gay man. This is exactly what I dreamed of. Of course, I'd love to give you your water.
I mean, look, it's probably very lonely down there, you know?
Being
not a lot of people.
In the Bahamas.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you want to try something a little different. But that is, I did not see that part, and that's wildly inappropriate.
It's insane. It's insane that guy was willing to do, I mean, for him, I've seen all these jokes on Twitter about it, like, oh, you need a friend that'll do for you what Billy or Andy King was going to. I'm like, man, don't ruin this dude's life. Like, he was just telling a story about what happened, and then I'm sure he, in his mind, was like, listen, they're going to hear this story anyway, so I might as well be the one who tells it. Get out in front of this PR disaster. But it's like a thing where, to me, that's just how insane it had gotten for all those guys in that Fire Festival planning committee. That you think that that's going to be, like, the customs agent was like, no, you don't have to, no. Oh my God, no, you don't have to do that. Who told you that? Listen, I'll just release the water if you promise to pay me money back.
I think the thing that I took away from both is the thing that really, It's the impact of the social media. Like, no matter how much disastrous things were going bad, no matter how many things that weren't ready, much money, $2 million they spent on booze, how many things went wrong, they didn't have the lodging. The thing they cared about the most
was likes.
Was influencers being put up in the right places. Like, that was their number one concern. That was really the number one thing. They were like, they have to get these houses for the influencers. That is all that matters. They wanted everything because that was so important to them.
You also really
Because it works.
Oh, my God. You saw just how scammable the younger millennials, and the next generation are. Because they didn't even have permits. They didn't have anything. They just put out a concept of a Bahama music festival.
A slick ad campaign.
Right on, and just had influencers push it all mysteriously and sold it out. They sold out cabanas they don't even have. Like, they don't even have, they didn't have cabanas.
Like, the winners of the Fire Festival are the influencers they paid to. You have to pay them to post.
Yep.
They're not going to say, I'll do it and then pay you down the road. So they had to front all that money to pay those influencers to put out a vague ad. So they're the real winners in all this.
They are. And then at the end of it, they all get to sit there and act like, listen, man, I know I got $250,000 to post a butt selfie on a boat and say go to this fire festival.
Not even, just the color orange.
Just an orange side. But I'm just as much of a victim as the rest of you guys, man. I know I made $250,000, but trust me, I feel really bad about it. All right, follow Ryan Dalton on all the social media platforms. Thanks for hanging out today, and we will see you tomorrow.
This is Nearly Informed with Brad. This is Nearly Informed. If you like this show, find it on the radio.com app and subscribe.
The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
Old moon, yeah. That's Hugo, tickling the ivories. He just saved by bundling home and auto with Progressive. Gonna finally buy a ring for that gal of yours, Hugo? Send her my condolences. Hi-oh! This next one's for you two. There's a burglar in my heart. Thank you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.